Okay, got it. Got it. Recording is in progress.
Yeah, you're live. Yeah, we're live. Not
We are
see there.
live.
Now I can turn off the royalty-free canned, podcast safe music and uh, welcome everybody to Left Coast Love, 2020. I want to thank my 5 listeners out there, and I'm gonna pay you
All
back
five
for
of
your.
you guys, what up?
I'm gonna pay back my 5 listeners tonight with the first ever guest that is not related to me on the podcast.
I feel special, man.
Well, you see,
Well,
the
I'm
other
young.
part too. The other part is, see, we could
Kind
look
of.
back on this later. Like Joe Rogan had 3 people watching his first video, right? Like nobody cared.
Hey, Joe Rogan. Look where he is now. Biggest podcast on the planet.
But I want to welcome Uncle Matt from Uncle Matt's Stash. I don't know if you're free with your name, although it looks like we're recording with our first and
Uncle
last
Matt,
names.
Matthew, you know,
But
always.
the reason I've asked him here this week is, everybody that on my side of the house here knows that I love and I've been all around the comics for so many years, and we actually met through a new selling platform, and it's called Whatnot. And Matt already had Uncle Matt already had the leg up. I stumbled upon this and his show, and a couple of his shows, and have purchased over a couple of weeks, probably about a short box and a half at this point.
Especially after that first two shows.
Oh my God, I got to, like, later on offline. I got to talk about that Hulk annual because there is gold in there, brother. There's
Yeah.
a there's 4 different stories. The first one is a John Romita Senior
Ooh, yeah.
little Hulk story. The art is crazy, but
JRSR, man. The Ramitas, those dudes are, that's a family of talent right there, man. That's a talent family right there.
uh,
Their
so
art is like, especially JR.
well, he
I'm
grew up
telling you.
watching his dad at the board, right?
Yeah.
So Whatnot is, for those of you that don't know, I guess it's kind of a mashup of, let's say, Twitch, which is one-way live streaming of video, but you have interactive chat, so people can give you feedback in real time, and you can kind of pick and choose how you want to react to it, right? And eBay, which is auctions. So for Matt and his wife, who also does on a separate Whatnot channel, because it's not just comic books, it's basically
No,
anything collectible.
she just got off doing her Disney show.
Just got
She
off doing her Disney show.
not even an hour ago. Just got finished doing Disney. You know.
Yeah, so you run um, short 30-second, 45-second, 60-second auctions.
Yep.
So you show
Live auctions.
what you're selling, and you can set what the opening price is, right? So there's all different levels. There's people selling $1,000 slabs out there,
Yeah.
and
Oh man, one
there's other
just
guys
sold for
selling.
30,000. Did you
I,
see that? 30,000.
they were talking about that on my onboarding yesterday, because the guy's like, I'm
In the
not.
room. That's
He's like,
why.
I got some high end stuff. I don't want to just slap some random shipping label and drop it off with Uncle Sam. And they said, hey, once you get above $500, you just, because now I'm a seller like you are. I haven't done my first show yet. But, they're like, hey, you reach out to, support for us and let them know. And they'll send you a label with the insurance on it, right?
Yep.
Because you, like I said, you want to make sure
30,000.
30,000. That's crazy.
One book.
One
And I'm
book.
telling her, like, it's a tough book, though. When Ultimate Fallout first come out, nobody cared about Miles Morales. For the last 5 years, he's been really getting big. Before that, they were dollar bin books.
Yeah.
Ultimate Fallout. Dollar bins. Like, you couldn't give them away, you know? Now it's a $30,000 book. Like,
And he's like action figure. Like, oh, there you go.
Yep. I got some Miles. Trust. I got Spidey 99, Miles, like the multiverse, Gwen Stacy, like Silk, like these are characters nobody knew about. You know,
Well,
nobody really cared about. And now like the MCU, it really is what's making Whatnot bigger than what it even thought it could be.
well, because yeah, now new people are coming into the hobby. I think
Well, it started with Pops, you know, it started with the
the
Funkos.
Funko, yeah, Whatnot actually said they started that while you did the onboarding, right? They started just kind of verifying pops, right, in the secondary market.
Yeah, because they have the ability to scan it and then all the information is loaded up. Like comics, and I'm telling Mrs. Uncle Matt, comics don't have that. Because
No,
there's a direct edition, there's a newsstand edition, there might be an edition that you had to mail in to donate money to get, you know?
they're gonna do it. They said they just introduced the functionality for the slabs. You'll be able to
That's
scan
smart.
those because you can pull over the information from
And you see,
CGC,
I
right?
mean, but then again, you're getting into CGC, you're getting into CBCS, and there's another one, IDS, I think it is. There's another one. Nobody really uses the other one. It's really CGC or CBCS. Woo wee. Yeah, yeah,
Dude, these
yeah.
were dollar books. I bought 60 of them.
That's insane. That's insane.
They
That was
just keep
before
going.
Nick Fury was Samuel Jackson.
Well, yeah, these are the original ones. This
12
was the
centers. I
one. This
see
I
him.
actually wanted this one.
That's
Like
the
this is
12
one of the
centers.
more iconic
Oh, man. Peace
covers
Monger.
from the 60s,
That's awesome cover, man.
but I paid $1 for it.
You know, that's a cover if you had Stan sign that. That's a cover, dude. That's a cover.
So when did you first start reading comics?
Um, for me, comics, I feel like have always kind of been a part of my life. Both of my parents were working parents, right?
Latchkey, I hear you, man.
So
We had
I
to
needed
entertain ourselves.
I needed a babysitter, you know. I have siblings, but they're 15 years older than me, and they lived in another state when my dad's previous marriage. They lived
Mhm.
in New York. I lived in South Florida, born and raised. A friend of the family's who used to live close to us had a babysitting business, I guess you could say. I mean, they had a brick and mortar and everything. It was like kinder care type thing, you know. And eventually they sold the business because her and her husband got a divorce, but she still did it on the side out of her house, you know. And all of her like really loyal customers always sent her kids to her house because she had a huge house, and her new husband owned a comic book store, and he used to give me Pogs. He used to give me Marvel Masterpiece cards, and I had something. I would fling them like I'm Gambit. You look at them now; they're like $300 cards. I used to be like, bing, bing, bing. You know, X-Men One, Jim Lee, collector's edition. It was the first comic I ever owned. It was the first comic I ever remember holding in my hand, thinking, "This is the coolest thing I ever seen." I had the the wraparound with the
Right,
gate
right, right.
fold,
Oh, it was a gatefold, right? It actually folded out.
the
The
wraparound with a gate fold. It was so fucking cool. I was like, this is the cool. And I remember cutting it and putting it on my wall because
that
I
was a
thought it
good.
was the
That was
coolest
a.
thing ever.
I was gonna say that was a good time to like. A lot of people like to rag on the '90s and shit.
Nah, man.
But you know what? Like I remember every town would have like 3 comic book shops in it. And
Yeah,
okay, so they printed 5 million copies, but you know what? That meant you could get your hands on some books.
yeah.
And
And I always remember back then, especially back then, the comic book stores. always had a lot of copies of books. Always. It seemed like you could always go to the comic book store and get what you wanted. Now it's like you gotta fight people. I don't want to lie. I go the day before the release and I get my books because I know the owner like that. You
Mm.
know, he'll let me get my books first, and then like the next day, the variants are gone. You know, the variants are gone before the release date. You know, so it's like I remember back then they had them. They wasn't no and then overpriced. There was no overpriced. I don't even think the resale market. You had to have like a wizard or a pricing book to know what the books cost, or else it was cover price.
But then how do you know? So like last night I was watching. I got so I mean thank God I only spent like 20 something bucks.
Yo, hey,
But he had like I bought all these like books I want to read anyways because I read it and touch it. I'm not like slabbing it or anything.
oh, that's great. It's awesome.
And you know, like I got. Well, you know I like the Scotty Young stuff. But I'm not like the Wolverine and patch, $2. That's
That's the new
less than
one.
cover price for the book. Like, why wouldn't you buy it, right?
That's the new one.
Um, you know, this one I think was 3, but still
I love
less
that.
than cover.
That's great. See, my comic book shop though didn't even have them. They were gone.
Well, the other one I got, these just came. These aren't the ones I bought last night, but I got like
I would literally have to go to the other. See, he had the first one and the middle one. That third one, he didn't have that third one.
and then
You go to a bigger shop to get those books. Oh yeah, like he didn't. You don't have those. I don't know, but
this
it's
was
weird.
I should probably give them credit because they're on whatnot. It's Comic Asylum,
Comic Asylum, great people, man.
but they just do these bundles. And like last night, I bought all 3 issues of the Hulk for $6. All 3 covers for the new Hulk book that came out, and
Awesome.
then
All five.
all 3 covers for Hulk #5, which also came out. Right? Again, like $6 for all 3 of them. Like, why wouldn't I?
You know who's got really good books? Unknown Comics. I I
I
ended up
thought of you
pouring.
today. I thought of you today because I didn't know. Are you on to this?
The Luchaverse. Ha ha! No, what is that?
Well, well, the first story is Rey Mysterio. So am I getting
Oh,
closer to your sweet spot here or what?
you know who probably made that? There's a wrestling company called Lucha Underground, and that's probably from them because Rey Mysterio, before he came back,
Cheeto Comics, Chido, or Chido? I don't know.
that's gotta be from California. It's gotta be from California, that company.
I think yeah. Because my local shop got it. There's
I've
another
never, I've never seen that.
Tights #1 came out too. This is the variant,
Look at that guy.
but
That's awesome.
but
That looks
this
like
is
Captain Underpants' dad.
this is pure indie. Like this is the Kickstarter book, and you
Those are
know
the ones.
the guys from San Francisco, and
Well, we just ran in at the con to Scout Comics, and they had all their indie stuff that they create, and they're based out of what? Fort Myers, was it? Fort Myers. They were like, look, all these books you probably never heard of. These are all local production books.
but they get buzz. I hear like I you know
They're big on whatnot. They're big players on whatnot. Man, let me tell you, I know the big players on whatnot, and they're up there, man.
well
They're
I
not
think
pulling like $1,000 shows, but they're up there, man.
well I think what I'm gonna do is focus again. I after listening to the whole onboarding and then understanding kind of what my deal's going to be because like like I'm not like I don't have acres of inventory to just blow through books. That's not what I can do. But
No,
they were saying that the themed shows are doing really good and it allows you to mix because they said if you're going to do comics, do your show for comics. Don't do comics and then pops and then sport cards in one
no,
show.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna do like a bundle, or not a bundle, a theme show, right? Like you're
Yeah.
gonna do a Spider-Man show. Then you could do Spider-Man pop, Spider-Man action figures, Spider-Man cards, Spider-Man comics. And the stuff I'm gonna be selling is already kind of grouped that way.
Yeah.
Cause that's how I collect. I don't know about you. So like when I see all three covers, that's where my shiny, ooh, precious,
I
ooh, all
love
three
that.
covers,
Yo,
right?
there's another seller. I forget who it is, but they offer all the new release bundles for the whole month, you know? So they're like, if you want the February bundle, it'll be every cover that came out Marvel, it'll be every cover that came out DC February, boom.
Well, I'm
All
trying to
under,
move
it's all
stuff
undercover,
out.
which is great. Oh yeah. You're gonna move shit out,
My
you
my
know.
daughter my daughter's all upset because I told her, I said Rick and Morty's going. She's like,
Ooh.
I have the full
I remember.
issue
I
one
remember.
first print all the way through to 60, and bunches of doubles, duplicates, alternate covers, the
And you know,
first UK
never
version.
I've never read, I've never watched the show. I know of it, obviously. You got to be under a rock if you've never heard of Rick and Morty.
Yeah, but it's okay because it's a thing, you know. Like I know some people love the Family Guy. I'm kind of like, yeah, I've seen 3 episodes. I'm good, you know.
It's like The Simpsons. Everybody's watched The Simpsons, but it's like the shit's still going.
Simpsons older than you by now, isn't it?
It's close to it, man. I don't know. They were talking about it on the radio because right now they're doing like a radio theme song like bracket because of March Madness, and like The Simpsons was in the Elite Eight because The Simpsons is like you hear that and you already instantly like The Simpsons. There's like, and that's like all the words. That's all the lyrics for the song. But everybody knows The Simpsons. You got to be like, you can't even be blind and not know who Homer Simpson is.
I feel like I used to do Simpsons parties back when I lived in New York, and God, it had to be like late, late, late '80s, early. I came back from the army and went back to school. Was that 80, 88, 89, 90? Yeah.
Do you remember where it came from?
The music, that's Danny Elfman, right?
Oh yeah, it's Danny Elfman. No, but the show itself. I mean, good job on that. Danny Elfman's a beast, dude. He's
Um,
made some music.
yeah, Matt Groening, and he had a cartoon strip, right? It was like,
It was from Tracy Ullman show.
oh, The Simpsons itself. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They had the shorts.
They had the little shorts they used to do, and they were so much different looking.
Raw. That was some raw stuff.
That's what I was telling one of the people I work with about South Park. The first season, well, I guess the first couple seasons were all hand drawn. And eventually they're like, hey, we're worth millions and millions of dollars. Let's upgrade this technology, but let's keep it looking the same. So they always look the same, but then you'd see those explosions or whatever, and you're like, man, these are some killer graphics, but these dudes look 2D as fuck.
Yeah, even The Simpsons had some of those weird episodes where Homer was like
Color
they
would
used
be
3D
off, and
animation and
yeah, somebody went on strike for a while. you know, you can tell.
So, what books did you pick up to read this week?
This week, well, I grabbed a bunch of Walmart packs, but the one that I'm probably gonna dig in the most. One sec. Are these all the Walmart packs? Well, I read all the Deadpool kills Marvel, so I just picked up Punisher kills the Marvel Universe.
Is that a read? Is that the original or is that a new one?
Well, I'm assuming this is the original. It's from
From
'99. I've
okay, yeah. I was gonna say that like there was a whole series
never
of
seen one before it, so I'm assuming it's legit.
Yeah, yeah. If you like that, get Punisher and Archie. That was a
Punisher Archie.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, your dad would love that. Nice.
Oh, I was thinking about new books because I got the new
Well, I just got it, so it's
I
new
got
for
the
me.
new Spider Man. I haven't read it yet.
Well, I grabbed the new Gleason cover, but I haven't dug into it yet. I just, picked it. Honestly, this week's been kind of like we're going on vacation next week, so it's like
Oh yeah, yeah.
we
And
have our number one show. So it's like she had her show today. We got hockey yesterday. We got hockey tomorrow. Then we got a show. So like, I haven't really had time. Like, I got people who sent me lists, and they're like, "Yo, get these books," and I'm like, honestly, they're in that corner right over there. I just
get
don't
ready
have
to
the
go.
time, dude. I don't have the time. Like even these right here. I just don't have the time to go through them, man. There's books over here.
Well, you'll
There's
be happy to know
a whole stack of shit over there.
pretty soon we'll be able to do our listings on the desktop instead of typing all that shit in on the phone.
You know what I actually am looking forward to reading? Is this. Ugh. I love getting the decorative boxes, the graphic boxes.
I got a couple, yeah.
I picked this up.
Oh, hold on.
Immortal X-Men.
Uh, uh,
Yep. Wrap around goodie. Um,
there was like 10 covers for this thing, wasn't there?
there was, but this is the only one I wanted because I got the box.
Oh, nice. You can put the whole run in.
That's what I'm probably gonna do because the Devil's Reign. I bought the first one, then the box came out, and I was like, all right, getting the whole set.
Getting the whole set.
I gotta run it, you know.
I got new Turtles today, too.
The annual.
Just the regular book.
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah, the
started reading
annual.
it. I started reading it again back on like issue 95. And I'm like, month after month, man, it's just like a really satisfying read.
I'm waiting for the Ronin series to complete
I
so I
know.
could.
I got that sitting here. When's 5 coming out?
It should have been out in February.
Well, I thought it got delayed again. And then
I'm
I
waiting.
haven't
I'm
read
waiting for
part
the
1,
trade
but I
because
got
I got one. Oh, what's that? War on Earth 3. Nice.
this is 2 of 2. I got issue 1. I haven't read it yet,
See this
but
shit? You see this? This is what he does. He's like, "Oh, you busted out a box for me? Thanks, Dad."
yeah, we
And this is where the show is, right here. So he's on that watching me work. Like, yeah, get to it. That's why I'm like, yeah, the director's here, guys. The whip is starting to get cracked.
so the other thing I started to try to work out some of the math is definitely the bundles, man, because of the bite they take. It was actually bigger than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And the transaction fees, right?
Yeah. Hell yeah. And one of the things we try to do now is work a bundle for you
Yeah, there you go. Because that takes care of everybody.
because like I could, if I'm doing slices for a slab, I'm gonna do it individually. But if you're like, hey, I want these 4 books, I'm not gonna run bum 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 if I don't have a reason to, you know.
Yeah, but yeah,
Because at the end of the day, I'm losing on fees and you're losing on fees. So if you're like, hey, I want these 4, I'll be like, yo, do you want me to bundle them for you? That way you save on shipping, you save, on taxes and fees and everything, and you're good, because I'm gonna ship it the same way regardless.
so now how many shows are you up to a week now? 2 kind of regular?
About I would say I'm averaging about two a week. This week we're only doing the one number one show, but like I said, we're going on vacation, or else I would have done another show, you know. And eventually, it's going to be about three or four shows a week, you know. It's going to go up within the next month or so.
What about the wife?
She's
Once
she's
a
got her
week
Disney
or
show.
once a
She's
month,
going to be
once a
doing at
week?
least one Disney show a week, you know, averaging. Yeah. She's not like, oh, I need to get on there and start selling these pins. Like, I can't even describe to you how many she has. So just for her to go looking through them and choosing them to put on a show is like a week in itself.
It's new. It's hidden category. I won't get the money yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, because yeah, she knows the deal, right? It's all about like packaging and have the right selection.
So
So you
the
got
thing is they want her right now. They want her to pound this shit because they're making the incentive for her to be the seller right now. They're like, look, we're gonna rush you right now. You're a seller, you know. Like, look how long you waited, you know.
it
Just
really
you.
wasn't that long. It was like 3 weeks if you
But
think about it.
I know people who've been waiting for a long time, and I know other people who've been waiting a long time, and they're like they haven't even been onboarded yet, you know. And I'm like, all right. So they rushed her, and then on top of that, she doesn't have any fees the first 30 days. There's no commissions.
Just max it out. And that's the best time to build the following, right? You get like
That's what I said. I was like, look, these people are getting pins at a great price because you're not getting slapped with fees, so you don't have to raise the price on them. You know, I was like, you got about 70,000 of the same pin. You know, might as well just start flipping them. The thing, this is the real thing. She has really, really, really high end stuff, but they consider it a fantasy pin because it's not a Disney pin. It's a Disney character, but Disney didn't make the pin.
it's not a
So it's not a
licensed.
Disney pin. You know, it's a fantasy pin. And they don't want fantasy pins on their shit. But they do want fantasy pins because this Disney pin costs $5. This fantasy pin costs $200. Now, what do you want me to sell more of on your site? You know, like they took people's shows down. They forced people to take stuff off their show. We had a friend who we helped get onboarded. She had what, like five or six in her video for the show, not even in her show, in the video. They said, hey, you got to change the video up. You can't sell those. Those aren't Disney. And I'm like, wow, that's nuts. You just lost mad money. And I see what they're doing because they want to come to Disney and be like, look, these are selling, you know, it's a huge market for you and we want to be partners. But Disney's going to be like, well, you guys sell these. We don't like these.
Well, yeah, they consider that
These
bootleg
aren't
stuff.
Disney. Because, like, look at this, bro. I mean, you see my hand. You see how fucking big this thing is? And,
See my
and that's,
Limited edition on the back.
yeah, this is limited edition 50. Only 50 of these, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like Game of Thrones.
Game of
I know
Thrones.
that's not Disney, but it's cool. You know, Toy Story. And it's like, how would you know this is a fantasy pen? This looks like I mean, besides, I think for the size, but what she was telling me is like Disney has pins this size, and you know what they do? Because she showed me.
But they don't shut down Etsy. Etsy sells, you could say, because they sell fantasy stuff that's not
See how
licensed.
big these things are? And what she is saying is, how would this be any different from when an artist comes on and hand draws covers, custom comic book covers? How is this any different than that? You know, people will go on and just draw art and sell art. And I'm like, well, you know, it's a different market. Because if this is JR, right? And then he decides, hey guys, I'm gonna do covers today. I'm gonna sign a bunch and I'm gonna do remarks and I'm gonna draw. Well, he's a comic book artist. You know,
Yeah, I follow Buzz. I check
technically
out
it's not
Buzz's
a comic
shows.
book, but it's the artist who's done 100 million comic books. But at the same point, it's not a comic book. So why is that able to be sold? But these are. I just said, you know what? I think it's a matter of time. I think eventually Whatnot will say, yo, these things are selling for hotcakes. Like, like they probably had an issue with slabs in the beginning, but then I don't know. I wasn't part of Whatnot in the beginning. Now people are running slab shows all day, every day. Like I've seen this one dude, he's doing mystery slabs right now. He's like $100. You get 3 slabs. The ground is like 150. The ceiling is like 1,000. And people are mystery bidding, blind bidding on these things. Just
Wow.
slabs.
Well, you and I had talked about it last week, but we just didn't record it. But for me, like now, just going back to being a fan, right? Like, holy cow, I can go to like 4 different comic shops while I'm having my coffee after dinner, right?
Or even in the middle of work. I'm working. I'm at work. And I'm just like, oh yeah? No, okay, I don't like that. Yeah. There's a couple people who I follow in the morning, do morning shows. One of them is a local guy. He's in Miami and I'm in Broward. And we talk every once in a while. And the other one is in West Virginia. And I bought so much from them. And they always come to my show, you know? And that's the one thing I love so much about Whatnot. It's like, when you have your first show, I'm there, dude. I'm the first person to walk in your room when you have your show, bro.
I think I'm gonna do John Wick as my first show.
I love it. I love it. I have some good boy books that are John Wick covers, and one of them I believe is signed. I ended up getting from, I don't know if you've seen Subaru Samuel. He's one of the buyers also. He just started selling stuff. He just got onboarded not too long ago. And he did his first show. Wow. His first show was wow, dude. He was
Yeah,
pulling out stuff. I couldn't believe it.
well, I'm
You
gonna do
know,
John Wick and then Stan Lee show. Those are the first two.
those are going to be killer shows, dude. First off, anything Stan Lee, everyone's going to jump on it. I told her Stan Lee signed everything. It didn't matter. He signed it, you know? He don't give a fuck, man. I think since 85 to the day he died, he must have signed like 50 million signatures.
Well, if you read any of the biographies, his wife and daughter weren't cheap. If you know what
No,
I'm
well,
saying.
remember before he passed away, she was suing him. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, yeah.
He
But
was suing him for the estate right before he died. I was like, damn, bitch, are you fucking kidding me? It's fucking crazy. Like,
well,
how
he
is
had
so
he
many
had
things
some
wrong
new
with that?
manager with power of attorney. Now the estate is suing that guy.
And it's so crazy, man.
It
It's
was
like,
just sad for because again, you grow up like loving the universe this guy created
him and
with all of
Kirby,
the other people. All right, I get that,
him
but
and
you know
Kirby, man.
what? Jack Kirby wouldn't have been as big if it wasn't for Stan Lee.
No,
It's
not at
not
all.
like
Not
I
at all.
it, he brought
100%.
more than just the silly
Stan
stories
Lee,
that he would write.
Stan Lee, let me tell you, Stan Lee was a fucking salesman. Okay? Stan Lee will sell ketchup popsicle, lady in white gloves. He put his product out there so much that it's undeniable. You have to buy it. You know, he forced it down your throat. You know, he showed you how great it was. He
And
wasn't like,
stayed
oh,
with
I
it,
have
right?
comics. He would be like, look, I have the best fucking comics. Look at these stories. Look at this art. He would bring in great artists to work on his stuff. When he took over in the 90s, he knew this company was declining and he knew we have to do something, you know? Now, it wasn't make shitty shows because to be honest, all the animated stuff at that time was great, in the 90s and 80s, like all the anime, like X-Men cartoon and Spider-Man, like Saturday morning cartoons with Marvel were insane good, you know. But it
They're
was
bringing
like,
back the X-Men, right?
yeah, X-Men
On
Adventures and
Disney
stuff.
Plus. Oh, you know what dropped today, right? Moon Knight.
Yeah, yes it did. Yes
So
it did.
now you
Um,
know what I'm doing after we get done here.
her cousin's like, hey, I know you guys sell comics. You got any Moon Knights?
Got
He's
it.
like, it drops tomorrow, and I'm like, bro, we never have Moon Knight.
Not anymore.
I said I couldn't even bring it in if I wanted to, man. It's gone before I even get it. You know, it's like if I tried to bring some in, it would be like, all right, these are sold, this is sold, that's so I couldn't even keep it. I had a couple like bangers and I sold them because I was like, man, he's gotta go. The market's too hot for him, you know, and they weren't like it wasn't like Moon Knight one or anything like that. Because most of the time I'll keep the number ones. Like
Right. Well,
in
I mean,
annuals.
I see
I
on the
love
show some
annuals.
people buy anything. I saw the first appearance of Hawkeye the other night, and it was a raggedy book. Raggedy. I mean, the cover was cracked half, that was coming apart, and
Yeah.
all. Now it was complete. You could still and I watched the auction for it, and somebody paid $150 for that book. I was like, okay, you know what, like in that it wouldn't have been even a 2.0. It was less
That's
than a
what these
2.0.
Nova books are about to be. You're about to see Nova be bigger than fucking Moon Knight. These dollar bin books, these are dollar bin books. They are flying now. I couldn't have given Nova away. I couldn't have sold you Spider Man and gave you a Nova. You would have been like, nah, keep it. It's okay. I had
Well, I
about
think about
30
how many
people ask
years.
me if I had it at the con. 30 people were like, you got Nova? You got any Nova? And I'm like, no, no, I don't. Nobody buys Nova. What the fuck?
Well, that's how it goes because now people want the stuff that's gonna go along with the movies and stuff, and
I had a Nova
like we
one.
were
I sold
joking
it for
about, I
$5.
think they're gonna do something with Spider Girl. They have to sooner or later.
It's gonna be a whole female verse. It's gonna be Gwen, Silk, Madam. They're doing all of them together. It's gonna be a whole thing.
Well, yeah, and why not Mayday Parker? Because now you can do the multiverse, right?
Well, from what I was understanding is Aunt May might not be dead. She might still be running around. I didn't see the new Spider-Man movie, but from what I'm understanding is they didn't kill her off. They want her still around. And she even said, Marissa Tomei was like, look, I want to be in a suit, you know?
You think they're gonna
So
power her up? Because how was it?
they
Closed
did it
casket?
to
How
they
would
did it to
Peter not?
Gwyneth. They did it to Gwyneth. Miss Pepper Potts. Pepper Potts got her own armor.
Yeah. What was that? Ironheart? No, what was her?
Yeah, no,
Rescue.
Ironheart.
Rescue. Right?
No, I thought it was Iron. No, yeah, it's Ironheart.
I thought that's the younger girl.
His daughter?
No. I don't read enough Iron Man. I get confused. I thought Rescue was Pepper because she didn't want to be offensive. Like, she'll wear the armor, but it's only for,
Yeah,
like,
she wasn't a
defensive or
fighter. She wasn't a fighter. She was. You know what? It might be. Yeah,
in the comics, anyways. I don't.
I gotta
And
look it
then
up.
Ironheart, I don't like. I just remember there was like, okay, now there's another girl wearing the Iron Man suit. I don't really know what universe or whatever. I just see the books out there.
Yeah, I was in a room yesterday, and this guy kept trying to upsell this Nova book. Heavy, remember? He's like, "This is Nova. It's Nova 3 from Volume 6." So I'm like, "It's not crazy old, but it's not
Uh,
crazy new, right?"
well, for my comics that I'm going to sell, I'm just going to make it simple, right? You know what? A lot of my shit's beautiful, but I'm only gonna claim I'm selling reader copies.
Yeah, and you know what?
And if
Nobody is
you want to
ever.
bid up a reader copy, go nuts. It's all gravy to me at this point because it's just taking up space in my garage. So
We blew out some reader copies. We did a blowout. She was like, "Look, I'm gonna do these bundles of reader books because I've got boxes and boxes of reader books."
that's why I bought the Badger books. I'll actually read those books, Matt.
I was trying to give you the Fighting American book. I
I,
know
I,
how much
I
you want.
don't want. I will send you back the Fighting American book.
I know how much you wanted it. I couldn't give it away, bro.
His
You
head is shit. It
understand?
looks like a cantaloupe.
Dude, it is the fakest Captain America I've ever seen. And wasn't it JR? It was JR, wasn't it? Or Liefeld. It
Liefeld.
was Liefeld. That's the best part. I'm telling you, he went up to Stan and was like, I got this idea for Cap. I think it'll be great. And Stan's like, nah, we're good. He's
Well,
like,
who did
fuck you, I'm
Cap for
leaving. I'm
Hero?
going to create him in another company.
He got to do Cap though, didn't he? Do Cap for Heroes Reborn?
Yeah, he did. He did. But it's so funny. Like, dude, he came up to someone at Marvel and was like, I got a great idea for Cap. And they're like, nah, we're good. And he's like, I'm going to Image. Fuck you.
I'm gonna go start Image.
Right? Legit.
But even that was that was exciting because again, I grew up with Marvel and DC, and even though they weren't outrageous, older copies still cost more money, and I didn't have a job. You're a kid, right?
Yeah.
And or now I'm a young adult, and I'm like, well, I could spend 40, $50 a pop on these old Spider-Man, or holy shit, there's a new company starting, Ground Zero. Like, what if I was around when Marvel started? Why? I had three. I bought every Image book that came out in the beginning. Everything.
Youngblood.
Well, I had
Oh,
like, but I wasn't crazy. I didn't buy like 10 copies of Spawn #1. I bought 3.
let me tell you, I got one sitting in the box right there. First print.
Somebody
Crispy.
sold. Am
Crispy.
I crazy? Somebody sold a raw Spawn #1. I saw it go on Whatnot last night for $50. Is that like? Am I losing my mind?
The slab, #1 slab, 9.8. I think is like $200-300 slab right now.
But $50 for a raw copy of a book where there's 2 million copies of it out there.
At least you're under numbering it, bro. You are so under numbering Spawn #1 right now. There are so many re-releases of that book. It's not even fun. It might as well be X-Men #1. You know what I'm saying? It might as well be
But
AS.
even X-Men #1, you see it on when you run the auction. People will pay 5, 10, depending on who's on the show, right? Or am I just old? I ain't paying more than $5, $10 for that book at this point.
The one thing I've noticed, it doesn't have to be a major key, because major keys, it doesn't matter the
But
condition.
who defines what the key is, right?
Key collector, CLZ,
See,
first appearances are always going to be
first
hard.
appearance,
You
yeah.
can't be like, hey, this is the first appearance of Black Panther. Like, hey, that's a major fucking key, dude. You know?
Yeah, it's just
But if you're like, hey, this is the first appearance of Squiggly Jim, you're like, who the fuck is Squiggly Jim? You know?
just a different way to collect, right? Like, because I'm sure there's like I like full run. Some people be like, well, there's a lot of wasted money in there because there's stories and books you don't give a shit about, right?
No, but it's not.
But for me, like that's how I collect, and I get what you're saying is like some other collectors like might be about the keys. Probably same with sports cards too, right? Some people only do the all stars, but some people are about like their team complete. Whether the team was a winner or loser that year, and
I found that most collectors, especially on Whatnot, a lot of the buyers really only care about the cover and the condition. That's it.
the
So
buyers.
the buyer. I find that a lot foil covers and a lot of number ones, and both being very clean, over nine, over graded over a nine easy. They sell. They sell, especially the older books. Anything pre 95 in very good condition will sell. And it's not like you can't find them though. That's the thing. It's like I could go to my little comic book shop up here and get almost the entire Punisher series, all mint. And it's like I see them selling online for crazy, and I'm like, they're not even that rare of book. Now, if you're talking, you want to go get like some uncannies in the 200s and below. Well, you find those in the fucking Christie copy, those will get money. Especially like the rare artist got before Jim Lee, before all the bigger names came up there. What's up, buddy?
I don't know. I think I'm gonna start going after some of the Bronze Age team up books.
Yeah.
Like I love, well, of course,
Good stories too, man.
Marvel team up, but the supervillain team up.
Yes. Those DC books.
Well, no, Marvel did a supervillain team up. It started with Doctor Doom and Submariner, I think, and Red Skull, and then the Red
Yeah,
Skull
you're
and
right.
Doctor
You
Doom.
know what? You're right. You're right.
There was one great cover with the Red Skull and Doctor Doom, and it was purple. Like I still see it in my head.
Red Skull is one of the most underrated. You know, I really feel like MCU helped him out a lot. You know, putting him in Captain America's first movie did a lot of them. Yeah.
Here's Cap 101. So it's the one after he gets pulled out of the ice.
Yeah.
Reader copy, $4. I was like,
Sell that right now, 25 easy.
I could, or yeah, some of them. And again, it's to your point. Like if it's the cover, like holy shit, man, Paladin, Nick Fury, and Cap. Shut up.
Dude, I look for those. I look for those older covers where you'll see everybody on the cover. Like I have a
Look at
Quasar.
this one. Are you kidding
Nobody
me?
even. Oh man, wow, that's a great book. That's a super dope. That's a killer cover, man. That's a real
Hey, you
killer
see, you
cover.
got a seat of honor. I don't have many slabs, but the slabs I have are from Uncle Matt.
Tell you,
So
man.
there you
That
go.
slab right there, that Nakayama, he might be doing the WonderCon coming up.
In Anaheim.
Yeah, he might be there. I know Scotty just signed on. Scotty will be there. CGC signing too.
I
He's
we,
at
we were
booth
just
700. They're like, submit the. They didn't even say submit. They're like, you got to be in person. And I'm like, fuck. Because I got like 6 or 7 Scotty books that I want to send up to get them signed. I even have a Comic Con exclusive, San Diego Comic Con exclusive Scotty that I want him to sign. It's amazing cover. Like some of Scotty's shit is amazing. Like, dude, it's insane. The new Ant-Man he's got coming out. Oh man,
is he doing
that
the
shit.
whole book or just the covers?
He only does the cover. But he does have books.
I
He's
know.
got the Oz series.
Yep.
Got, the Deadpool that he did. He was the writer for the Deadpool series. Oh, I Hate Fairyland.
I was gonna say,
Uh,
what was I think that's the one. That was an Image book, though, wasn't it?
yeah, yeah. The earliest cover that I've seen him, I think, was 2011. It was an early cover. It was a DC cover. Um, then he went to Image, did 2 series over there, and then he ended up doing him and Alex Ross kind of came in about the same time to Marvel and started doing the cover variants. And I guess Marvel started being like, look, we need to start moving these covers like this, because one Ghost Rider #1 has about 13 covers, and that's nothing. That's nothing. What was it? What was the Spider-Man book that Tates had the variant for? it was, I guess every comic book store had a variant of this. So on CLZ, it'll be like cover A, cover B, cover C. Well, this shit went from AA to BB, CC, because it goes A, B, A, C, A, D, and then it goes into the D's. Like, stop making covers. You know what I mean?
I
It's the
grab
same
those
story.
sometimes. I mean, I think you talked about it too. Like when I was in Midtown, I
I had to get some
I
Midtown.
grabbed a couple of their exclusive covers because they
Had
were
to.
still reasonably priced.
Yeah.
And then when I was down, in Acme Comics in Greensboro, I grabbed a couple of theirs. In Pittsburgh Comics, I got their Godzilla, the IDW
Yeah.
store variant where he's like stepping on the store.
Yep. Yeah, they got that at Tate's. There was Judge Dredd. They had a Cena, which was John Cena, which I didn't
Walking
know.
Dead. Didn't Walking Dead have store?
Walking Dead has one. There was a really cool one. I was out there. Oh, Shaft. Who was a Tate's Shaft #1? And I was like, the fuck? I don't understand what this is about, but I like it. It's cool. You know, I like those. I guess regional covers you could call them. I mean, they're so rare. I mean, you can't go to another state and get Tate's books.
Well, you had asked me before, but I was gonna wait because I wanted to see if because I'm looking at the clock. I try to keep it to about an hour. Um, I was like, well, I totally appreciate you coming on and like
Oh man, thank you for inviting
helping
me.
me
I'm
out with
sorry it took so long to
my
make it
five
happen.
listeners out there. So, but if you had a good time and you're interested, I was like, I was gonna if you want to come back, we could do this again another time. And I
Yeah.
was gonna pull out my international comics, the stuff I bought overseas, but
Wow.
it's not just a foreign language version.
No,
Like
of course.
I bought when I was in Germany. Yeah, of course I bought like Superman speaking German, but I got some German comics too. You know what I mean?
Nice.
And when I was in Ireland, I got locally produced Irish comics that we don't get over here.
No, yeah. Those
And
internet.
it's
There is a seller on Whatnot,
there
International
is
Comics,
I know
and he's got variants like.
that Mexican the what is it the Mexican variant of ASM 300. I see that
Yeah.
popping off quite a bit.
I had two copies of not ASL. It was Spider-Man 1. It was the silver. It was the gold. The Turkish variants.
Turkish variant.
I ended up getting them from another seller. Um, he kind of blew them out, man. And I was like, dude, these are fucking killer sweet books. And then our last #1 show, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna throw them in here, man. I'm gonna see what these do. And they went up. I was like, wow. Well, and I got them for like pennies from this guy. I felt bad because I got them for so cheap from this kid, and I just like quadrupled my money on it. But like, I didn't know at the time. I didn't, part of you thinks like, yeah, I guess, because I've seen Mexican X-Men's, I've seen Mexican Spider-Mans and Batmans, and but I didn't know it stretched like that. Like Istanbul has a whole printing thing. They almost serve up the whole damn European countries. The dude was telling me on the international show that Istanbul, the Turkish one, their printing is almost matches America.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
then there's a whole in Mexico there's a whole they did not kill Gwen Stacy. So there's a whole like separate timeline,
Wow.
story, art, and stuff. And those books, nobody cared about them forever, right? And now that's like one of those like holy grails if you're a Spider-Man
Like a
collector.
$6 or 6 peso book. You know what I mean? It costs
That
like 50 cents.
that wasn't really it wasn't a knockoff, but it wasn't fully you know what I mean? Marvel wasn't pushing it. But I apparently well I'll dig into that and bring that back next time. So if we want to wrap it up here, so anybody can go to Whatnot, right? Anybody can go to Whatnot and buy.
As long as you got a phone and a credit card and a shipping address, you
Yep.
buy whatever you want on Whatnot. You know what I mean?
And they look for Uncle Matt's stash.
That's right. Uncle Matt's Stash. You know, you catch us on Whatnot. We're on Instagram. We have an eBay, but we don't really sell on eBay. You know.
No, that's where all the fun is over here on the Whatnot, joking around with the people while you're getting your books gone and taking
Let me
taking
say
some
this
cash
though.
in.
I found a seller on eBay, right? He also sells on Whatnot, obviously. And I'm like, yo, I want to make a deal with you. You know, you're asking way too much money for these books on eBay, right? Let's cut a deal, dude. I got stuff you want, and you have just one book that I want. He's like, well, this is a 1 in 25. And I'm like, bro, I got a 1 in 600, a 1 in 1,000. I got a 1 in 100. I got about 31 in 50s right here, dude. And I'll trade you. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I don't want to pay that number, you know? And then he comes back. He's like, look, because he wants 900 for one raw book. Raw book. It's a WWE comic.
Oh
This isn't,
yeah, he's got you right.
this isn't like a Spider-Man #3 signed
Isn't
by
there any?
Stan Lee.
There's got to be somebody else that's got it.
So my life's mission now is to find this fucking book less than $900.
What book is it?
It's it's WWE. It's the Iron Sheik. It's a virgin cover with the Iron Sheik on it.
When did it come out?
17. You know, one of the things I was
Oh,
going to ask you is if you are able to find those kind of books, those WWE comics. And I'll show you a couple of what I'm talking about because I grew up watching wrestling. Like my house was my dad recorded over my first communion with the 92 Royal Rumble. Ric Flair winning the Royal Rumble. It is still my favorite wrestling moment ever. Like
you still
he
got the tape?
recorded over my first communion with that Royal Rumble. So like for me, I love wrestling. But it's funny because I'll take breaks. I have to, man. The writing sucks. And I mean it really fucking sucks. It's too predictable now. I could call every match. She was watching it with me, and I'm like, I don't want to watch this match. This person's gonna win. And he's like, no, he's not gonna win. Bomb, person wins. I'm calling the whole show. You know, it's just I gotta take breaks from it, man.
Well, comics do that. They find something that works, and Secret Wars 4, Secret Invasion 2, Civil War 6. The players are different, but the story is the same.
That's the book.
Who's the publisher? Who does WWE books?
Boom Studios.
Oh, Boom. Okay.
Yeah, they're Boom, but see,
Well, I'm gonna ask James, the guy that my LCS owner,
yeah.
because I'm just gonna ask him if he knows anybody at Boom. You never know. Hey, he
Yeah,
came through. He came through with my Avengers JLA. So
and yo, let me tell you something right now. I don't know how the fuck you got that, dude. I really don't love Sean. I don't know how the fuck you got that, bro. I really don't know how the fuck you got that. My guy got 3.
my guy got 3 too.
Him, his fucking coworker, and the customer who told him about him. He didn't even know. The customer was like, "Are you gonna get these books?" And he's like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "You're not gonna get these books?" Just like every other store, they asked for 100. I said, "Bro, you're lucky you even got 3." I've talked to comic book stores, they got 1. They asked for 1,000, they got 1. The biggest comic book store in South Florida got 3. The biggest got 3. I'm like, bro, you're lucky you got 3. Midtown got like 20. I'm like, how the fuck you got multiple locations? You get now that's the loophole, man. You know what I'm saying?
Well, he got 3, and they all went to customers.
It's so crazy.
You're
No,
loyal.
well, yeah, you're a loyal customer, man.
I
You're
spent.
lucky. Kate's is doing a raffle. They're raffling it. The other place, they're raffling their book, because let's be honest, man. Like that book could sell for $300 right now on eBay.
Well, I'm gonna hang on to it.
I'm not getting rid of mine. The only way this book leaves this house is if this phone rings and my guy says, George is doing a signing. What do you want him to sign? I'll fucking drive it to Orlando myself.
Nice.
Straight up. I don't care. I'll do it. Jim, I can't come in tomorrow. I gotta go meet George Perez.
I used to have a job like that. My buddy would call me
Oh,
up. Hey,
nah,
I
he's
got
not
Knicks
fired, man.
tickets.
He'd get pissed. He'd be pissed. I wouldn't be fired. He'd be pissed as fuck, but he wouldn't understand what I'm saying. You have no idea.
Well, Matt, Uncle Matt, I'm gonna say thank you. I'm gonna wrap up the recording side of this. If you want to hang on and chat for a minute, but again, if check out Whatnot, they have all kinds of different categories. My wife was even looking at there was a woman selling purses, designer handbags and stuff. Now
Yeah.
they don't have 5 shows every day, every hour like comic books, but
No, I've
um,
seen clothes though, pops.
I saw a guy just selling trucker hats.
Hey, he might be like 10 years behind, but good for
He
him.
it was everything they all sold. So
Awesome.
there you go. I'm gonna go ahead and hit end on that.
Yeah, it's Whatnot sells everything, dude. I'm really like amazed that they just you can buy almost anything on it.